Which ones did I give myself? That's a great question versus given to me.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's a really good one for, I gotta explore that with my therapist.
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
Hola, hola. Welcome back to Café con Pam. When Mónica Trasandes was 6 years old, she came to this country from Uruguay, not speaking a word of English. She didn't know what was happening at school. All she knew was that at some point, she would get Oreo cookies y leche, no? And then she could go home. She figured out the language, and then she became the translator, the form filler, the eldest daughter. When the family got a TV guide, that little paper magazine that told you what was on, Monica took it over. This is my TV guide. We're going to watch this, and then we're going to watch that. She didn't realize until we were sitting across from each other at Pink Rose Cafe that she had been in media her whole life. Monica is now the Senior Director of Spanish Language and Latina Media at GLAAD, where she spent 18 years making sure LGBTQIA plus people are seen in telenovelas, in newsrooms, and Univision and Telemundo, people like us. She's a novelist, a playwright, an Out 100 honoree, a mom, and she's finishing her new book set in Uruguay and Argentina about the dirty war, about the disappeared, because she says these stories need to be told. In este episodio, we talk about visibility, about joy, about what it costs to keep going, and about why. In the ugliest moments, you find the most beautiful people. Este episodio, of course, es para ti, y sin más, here's my conversation with Mónica Trasandes. Mónica, welcome to Café con Pam.
Thank you so much. It's
Yes.
a pleasure to be here.
So fun to have you in person, IRL. Cheers.
Can't believe it. Cheers.
We're at Pink Rose Cafe.
Yay,
Yeah.
Pink Rose, salud.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking an Americano on
This
ice
is an interesting straw. You
with
can,
lots of cream.
lots of cream.
And I love that she asked, half and half or heavy cream? Like,
Oh, what did you get?
Next time I'll get heavy cream.
I know. I was like, I was still looking at what to get for me. Wow.
I know, right?
I recently saw I was watching a show, and it
So cute.
was really good. And
I like that you did that.
the person, they pulled out, they served themselves coffee, hot coffee, and then they went to the fridge and got whipped cream, and just like, and I was like, oh my gosh, that actually sounds really good.
Yeah. Heck
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna try
I
it.
mean, that's what they started doing at Starbucks. They got everybody, they normalized whipped cream.
They normalize whipped cream.
Even
Indeed.
for dogs and cats. Even cats
I
now
know, the
get a-
puppuccino.
Yeah, and the cats too.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, that's pretty cool.
So, let's get into your story,
Yes.
because otherwise we can like keep talking about coffee. So, you grew up in San Diego. That's
Yes.
something we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
But you were born in Uruguay.
Yes.
How many Uruguayos do you know here?
There aren't that many. There are only about 4 million in the country. There are more
Wow.
cows than people in Uruguay, allegedly. That's what I've heard. It's an anecdote. I'm not sure. I haven't checked it.
Uruguay es chiquito,
Chiquitito. Yeah, total chiquitito. Entre Argentina y Brazil.
right?
So it's like this little sheltered country there. But yeah, so and here, how many do I know? Oh my gosh, I don't know that many. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I don't know that many. Whenever I hear someone who's from Uruguay, I tend to go up to them and go, ¿De dónde son? ¿De dónde son? And they're usually pretty friendly.
You exist?
Yeah, one time in a doctor's office, I was totally, what is it called? Ear hustling. As my friend Janet, her
Yes.
partner, calls it ear hustling. And I was like, oh, wait, those people are from Uruguay. Are they from Argentina or Uruguay? No, I think they're from Argentina.
What's
And
the
when they
difference on the
passed by-
accent?
I
That's
think
always a mystery.
I think
Depends on who you
sometimes
ask.
Argentines can be a little more extra. And I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay.
Not going to lean into any sort of stereotypes about Argentinos.
It's always a thing. That's a conversation.
We think we're a little more humble over there in Uruguay. We think, even though that's a
That's
very
the
not very
thing?
humble statement.
That's the thing you say?
That's the
Okay.
thing we say.
I don't know.
So we're a little more, maybe, I don't know. There's just a little difference. Just
Okay.
a tiny little difference between us. And everybody,
Pero
that's
el acento es
generalizing.
muy similar, ¿no?
Muy
I mean, of
similar.
course, if you, I mean, because I've experienced this when you ask an Uruguayo, somebody from Uruguay, they're like, nah, of course you can tell immediately, you know, who's from where. And
Yeah.
the same, somebody from Argentina, no, you can tell immediately, pero from the external ear,
Yes, and
there's like a little similarity.
There's similarity, but I think depending on what part of Argentina you're from too.
Exacto, también.
Because
Claro,
it's a whole
claro.
thing. Porteño is a thing.
Yes.
Being from Buenos Aires is a little different from
Yes.
the rest of the country. So sometimes I will ask and they'll say, oh no, I'm from Argentina. So I get it wrong all the time. And I've been here a long time, so my ear could be off. I mean,
Totally. How was it for you to grow up in San Diego?
it was good. I liked it. I mean, it took me a minute to get used to being in this country generally because
Yeah.
we came from Uruguay. We were first in Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
Right, and my aunt was there, my cousins were there, and so a couple cousins and an aunt, and I, we didn't speak the language, so going to school there was
How old
like,
were you?
I was 6.
Okay.
It was rough because didn't speak the language. I always say that all I knew was that at one point there would be a lot of people talking all day, and then at one point I would get Oreo cookies and milk, and then about an hour or so later we'd get to go home.
Wow.
all I could
That was your school, like your initial experience?
Yes, because they didn't have ESL. And then when we came to San Diego, first, in San Diego proper, and at the school there, I don't think they had ESL. I don't remember having ESL. So it was sort of like, again, just like you'll figure it out eventually. And then when we moved to El Cajon, where I grew up, I remember the teacher saying to a little girl named Carol Cabrera, hey, why don't you help Monica learn English? Something to that effect. And I feel like I always tell the story this way. I hope I remember it right. I was 6, but I feel like Carol Cabrera taught me a lot about speaking English.
Okay.
The teacher was great too, Mrs. Cope. But yeah, so you learn from fellow students and so yeah, eventually I became bilingual, and then I was the translator for the family, like a lot of Latina kids.
Are you the eldest?
Yes,
Of course.
Yeah.
So, as the eldest daughter, what responsibilities did you give yourself?
I
You can
would
look
like to
back.
joke all of them, but my brother and sister would be like, nah, come on.
Of course, they always are like, you're exaggerating.
Which ones did I give myself? That's a great question versus given to me. Mm-hmm. Huh. That's a really good one I gotta explore that with my therapist. Like, hey, no one told you need to do that, Moni.
Which is like, I think I'm an eldest daughter, and I think it's a through line of you become the translator, form filler.
Yeah.
You become depending on your age,
Yeah.
right? Like I started taking my siblings to school. So I became the Uber, but all of those things, were they asked of you, or did you just were like, because I can do it, I'll do it?
That's a good one. And I think one of them was the TV guide. I was the queen of the TV guide. It's my TV guide. I'm going to tell you what we're going to watch.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like I don't even know if my parents knew how to work that thing. I was like, it was an actual piece of paper. There wasn't a guide back then, mid-70s. So
Wow.
you actually had a paper. I know, I feel like I'm ancient. We had
don't know if I
wagon
ever saw the
wheels
paper.
and TV guides. We had, it was in a piece of, it was a magazine you bought. It was little. It was like this size. And you bought it at the store. So I would get that thing. We would go shopping on Fridays, usually Friday evenings. Dad got paid. So I would come home and I would be like, we're going to watch this, and then we're going to watch that, and then we're going to watch this, and that, and that. And I pretty much just like, oh, there's a good movie on Tuesday, there's a good movie on Wednesday.
Fascinating. How does that connect to your work now, if at all?
I guess it must really connect, right? I didn't even ever put that together. Oh my God, I work in media. I know. Wow. I mean, it definitely, also I do think that it was a golden era in many ways of TV. So I got lucky that it shaped me in many ways, like the humor of the Carol Burnett show. I mean, it shaped me a lot, like loving media. Mary Tyler Moore, a journalist who was a single woman. Sometimes I'm like, I ended up becoming a journalist. I was like, that was because of Mary Tyler Moore. And then you don't get it. Like, oh, yes, right. Mary Tyler Moore really, and Rhoda and all that. So there are a lot of shows that I think shaped me as a woman and probably shaped my career choices too.
Yeah.
MASH. I used to love MASH. And I mean, sometimes I'm like, I really loved the Hawkeye Pierce character, Alan Alda. And I know he's a dude, but I think in some ways I fashioned myself after the Hawkeye Pierce.
I love that. Back then, when you were in your TV guide era, did you notice the lack of visibility of queer people?
I mean, I don't think I noticed it. Well, I probably started noticing it when I was about 14, and there was some visibility, and I went, oh my gosh, I think that might be like me too, but not so much in TV. There was the occasional movie, special movie or what have you, one of the sort of theme movies
And it
that
was
were
the
about
American
issues.
movie,
Yes.
not the Latino movie.
Never, not really, no.
Yeah.
I don't think I even started noticing and stuff on Spanish language TV until I was like more in high school or college. And then unfortunately it was the whole making fun of the gay guy.
Right.
It was always a gay guy. It was never women. But even on English language TV too, that was very common to just make fun of.
Yeah.
So I noticed that stuff, but it was sadly, the message was, you better be quiet. If you think that you're part of that community, you better calladita, más bonita, because that's going to be bad. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be shamed. And unfortunately, it was shame. The first thing was shame. Like, you better, first of all, let's try to date every guy you can, because no way, you cannot be part of that community that gets laughed at all the time, made fun of. So I was like, okay, one nice, cute guy after the next. I always say, I just kept trying. I kept finding the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah.
And people would say, how can you not be attracted to him? I was like, I don't know.
They're so nice.
I'm trying really hard. He's so cute. And they're like, you're crazy. He's so cute. And then eventually I was like, you know what? Just not straight.
Just doesn't matter how much you try.
Not. No matter how cute the guy is or how sweet he is. I'm not.
So let's talk about your book, because you've been a GLAAD since 2008.
Yes.
Which is 18 years. You've met with the Pope. You've been in lots of writers' rooms. You've trained over 100 community members to tell their stories.
Oh.
And what happened to the writer in you?
I mean, the writer in me is still there,
Yeah.
for sure. It's a great question. I definitely still write a lot. I'm still working on different fictional stories. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's such a part of me. I sometimes joke that it's kind of an affliction. Like, I wish it would leave me in a way.
Really?
Because there's not enough time. There's so much, And I'm sure your audience is full of people like this, women like this, who are like, oh my gosh, being a mom could be 100% of my time. Working at GLAAD could be 100% of my time. Writing could be 100% of my time, but there's only one of me. Being a daughter and visiting my family in San Diego and caring for older parents, helping to care, because my brother and my sister do most of the hard work. But all that could be 100%, so it would be 400%. So it's like, the writing, I almost wish, I wish you'd stop wanting to do this thing. But it just comes very naturally, and it's a great outlet, and I'm also very grateful for it. And I'm just finishing up a project I'm excited about.
Okay.
Latin America, set in Uruguay and Argentina in the present and the past, about during the Dirty War, but also during the present, like a Spanish language reporter who is chasing this guy. So it's been really exciting, especially now that I'm almost at the end. It's exciting. And for years, though, it was like, you just got to sit down and keep doing it, keep doing it, keep writing.
What kept you writing?
In a way, the fact that these stories need to be told, we can't forget. In many ways, the present, what's happening now, very similar, sadly and unfortunately. Disappearances, desaparecidos, sadly, it's a very relevant theme. Disappeared girls, especially, not just in the context of politics, but in the context of what's happening, all over the world. And, women, being killed by their partners. And so it's very relevant and important. And I just thought, it's important, and you've got to keep going. And I'd already written so much of it. And people have given me input and spent their time reading it and giving me input and telling me what works and what doesn't. So I was like, kind of, can't stop now. Got to keep going till it's finished and good. Hopefully,
is that
a
role that you've taken on? A
Sure.
self-acquired responsibility?
Kind of, yes. I suppose so.
Yeah.
Good one. Good one
I
again.
know.
I got to write that down. Self-acquired responsibility.
To tell other people's
No
stories.
one told you.
Which, it makes me curious, because you've talked about your coming out story and the acceptance that happened afterwards. And I wonder if the story had been different, if that would have changed your career drastically.
Oh, interesting. I wonder, you mean if there had been much more acceptance, and if I had seen more LGBTQ stories? It might have. I mean, I was a journalist first. So I was, a journalist and a magazine editor first before going to GLAAD. I may not have gone to GLAAD if not, for that. Because somebody said to me, there's much more representation now in Spanish language media. And I was like, oh, is there really? Because at that point I wasn't watching that much. I was watching it growing up. But then as a grown woman, I wasn't watching as much. And they're like, yeah, it's getting better. And they're like, there's still much more to be done. So I started watching a lot more. and thinking, oh my gosh, yes, these shows are great, and I would love it if there was more LGBTQ representation on Despierta América or Hoy Día,
Claro.
or the morning show, the morning shows, the evening shows, the news, and it's been such a privilege to do that. And so once you start doing that, you work with producers, and they're wonderful, and they're open, and you see like a couple of men with their little baby talking on Despierta América, or you see something wonderful about Spirit Day on Hoy Día, and you're like, oh my God, that's so cool, and you remember that kid in you who maybe he's watching TV right now somewhere and going, oh my gosh, that's like me. And they're talking about it in a natural, healthy way, happy way. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's fine. It's like anybody else, any other family. So I was like, okay, once you kind of get addicted to like seeing that and it's cool and you want to see more of it, of course. And I still want to see more of it. I want to see series. I want to see more series that are inclusive of LGBTQ storylines. In Spanish, of course.
Claro. Do you still see pushback from back then?
Yes, unfortunately, yeah, you do see some pushback. You do see some where people say, oh, I don't know if those storylines, I mean, it's different. It used to always be, that's a controversial topic. We can't talk about that. We're not going to include that. It's controversial. Now it's more like, well, I don't know if people really want to see that as the main love story. You see more supporting characters,
right?
And sometimes really good ones, really nice ones, but people still have struggle at the idea of like that's going to be one of the main characters. Although we've seen plenty of wonderful shows, and I can totally send you a list of series. I'm always like big cheerleader. I love anything that we've nominated for a GLAAD Media Award in Español. It has usually LGBTQ characters. Sometimes they're supporting, but sometimes they're lead characters. They're great. They're, The Secret of the River, El Secreto del Río on Netflix, La Flor Más Bella, beautiful. All kinds of great shows that I can go on and on about. There's a platform called A3 Player from A3 Media in Spain.
Okay.
They have some wonderful shows on there too, and Amazon has wonderful shows too. HBO has Land of Women from Eva Longoria, which has a wonderful trans character.
Yes.
So that's not HBO, that's Apple TV Plus.
For sure. Because you've been in media for so long, it's said, I don't know if it's a fact, if we can like back it up with data, but typically Latin America is like 10 years behind the US when it comes to representation, when it comes to ideology, when it comes to tech. When it comes to, do you feel like Latin American media, it's catching up as far as representation for the LGBTQI plus community?
I do feel like things are improving. I mean, it's hard to say that. Sometimes lately I feel like Latin America is ahead and Spain is ahead of the US in some ways.
I could see that actually.
Yes.
I'm
like, oh, you go Latin America.
Especially,
yeah.
I could see that. In women's movements even.
Yeah. Some wonderful things happening in Mexico. Obviously, Mexico has a woman president.
Right. We can start.
I mean, start there, right? But yeah, sometimes I feel like, it's hard to quantify it though, and measure it really. But definitely a lot of great series are coming out of Spain and Latin America, Mexico too, and. So yeah, I'm always really happy to see that. It's important. I always say, and watch these series. I'm a cheerleader for it because, I always try to say, watch the series that see you. Give your besitos to the shows and the companies, the corporations that invest in you. Give your time to the ones who include you in their storytelling. So when there are all these great, series, I try to tell people all the time, make sure you're watching them and then go online and talk about them, tweet about them, use good hashtags, make sure people all over, because we're a huge audience. If you count Mexico, Central America, Latin America, that's a very big, big audience that will consume really good storytelling that's engaging, interesting,
totally,
and in Spanish, and inclusive of us.
And it's the power of streaming, like now, I think, to your point, there's a possibility for an expanded audience. Like you could make a show in Uruguay or in Chile or whatever, and like that could touch a global audience.
Yes, exactly. It's really cool. Huge audience when you look at between the U.S. with huge Spanish-speaking population, obviously, and the entire, Western side, Latin America, Central and Latin America, it's huge.
I know.
So it's wonderful to see that, and, yeah, so I want them to keep making stories that are like that are engaging, fun, smart, whatever, moving, you know, and reality shows too, because a lot of reality shows are also really inclusive on Univision, on Telemundo. We're seeing a lot of that, a lot of inclusion in realities, and in Mexico too, La Casa de los Famosos, and so we're seeing a lot of inclusion in different shows, and that's really heartening.
For sure. It makes me think of my second biggest country is France. And I'm like, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, Latinos in France?
Oh, in France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Francia.
Oh, in Francia, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, it's fascinating, you know, like that.
That's your second.
Reach.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow, that's so cool. Yeah, interesting. In Francia, I would not have imagined that.
Me neither, until I was looking at the data and I'm like, France?
Yeah.
Which, to bring it back to the representation and the storytelling and all of the things, the global audience could also give, you know, a lot of texture to how stories are told.
Yes.
And the representation. And like when you mentioned Spain and different countries, kind of like being advanced in how they tell stories, it also, everyone in the world being able, like accessing those stories, also can provide perspective.
Yes. Yes, that's
Big
very true. It makes it such a fascinating like layer, right? You're right. Like, yeah, Latinos in France, you know, yeah, Latinos all over the world. Like the immigration, like it's changed and enriched so many cultures.
So many cultures,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah.
What have you seen different in GLAAD since 2008 to now?
I'm seeing definitely more storytelling that is inclusive, for sure, and more, you know, more people at the networks in the U.S. and abroad too, saying, "Oh yes, you know, I have friends, I have family members who are part of the community. I have my daughter." You know, more and more they're coming, sort of being honest and saying, like, "Oh yeah." It's become much more normalized. Like people will tell me, "Oh yeah, you know, I have, you know, lots of people in my circle who are," and they also they know too that the demographics are such that the younger Latina audience, or I should say the Latina audience, skews very young in the U.S. And those young people are very comfortable talking about LGBTQ issues or just supporting their friends who are LGBTQ.
Yeah.
They're not, so they are, you know, so entertainment I feel like is starting to open up more and say, oh, you know, inclusion is always a good thing. So I've seen that change, but we do have years where it goes back and forth. You know, we have times where
based on what?
Politics, in part, you know, people don't want to get, quote, political. And sometimes it's like, well, that's not political. You're just reflecting the world.
Yeah.
It's our existence. Our existence is just, but it is political in many ways. As immigrants, as Latinas, as LGBTQ people, if somebody else is politicizing it, it's become politicized.
I know.
Speaking Spanish is politicized.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Ooh.
So we proudly do it. I do it more than I have ever done it.
Do you feel like as we take a step forward and sometimes backwards, there's still progress?
That's a good question. Yeah, there is progress. Yes, the overall arc, right, goes toward, I forgot what that beautiful quote is, toward equality, but definitely within that there are steps backward where you kind of think, like right now is such a hard moment for our immigrants communities and anybody who's black or brown, anybody. I mean, racial profiling has been deemed okay. I still don't understand how that can be. So it's a hard time because we're having to say, oh, you know, who are we? And, you know, we do belong here. This is our country too. Totally. And so, but there are forces that would love it if we thought, oh, okay, it's not, I'm going to be quiet now and stop speaking Spanish or something.
Where do you get your strength to keep it going?
Thank you for the compliment. You know, mom and dad, and just luck. I think luck of the draw, like luck of just my temperament tends to be pretty positive. I tend to not take things very personally, and I think mom and dad gave us a lot of confidence too, and we were very loved, and that kind of confidence makes you be less defensive and stuff, and think, oh, if someone has a problem with me, it's their problem, not mine. And it helps you move on faster, you know, and be like, whatever. And look, and eyes on the prize, what you want and what you want to accomplish versus somebody trying to bring you down, or, you know, it's easier to jump over barriers when you feel like you kind of have an inner sense of you can do this. And a lot of that comes from culture, mom and dad, family, you know, luck, you know.
Ooh, I want to challenge the luck.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Because is it luck or you actually worked hard for it, you know?
It's both, though. But the luck I mean is that I have a pretty easy temperament. It's kind of hard to make me mad. Everything kind of, whatever, you know. And so that's luck. Because if I got mad at everything, I couldn't do this job.
Yes.
If I got mad every time somebody
Not for 18 years.
Oh, yeah, no way, right? Every time somebody said something like, well, I'm not going to repeat their, you know, something quasi, like, bad, or did something, I would be so mad all the time. But I'm pretty lucky that my temperament is like, oh, you know, they're trying their best. Let's talk. You
give them grace.
I do. Fortunately, I'm blessed with that kind of personality where I'm like, I'm sure it was just a small mistake.
Does your team ever are like, Monica, why don't you get mad? Like, this is something that we need to get mad about?
Yes. Sometimes they have in the past. Yes, they have said, what? And they get more mad than I do. I'm like, okay, that's a good point. Yes, I'm going to get more mad too. Yes.
How do you dance between that?
I don't know. I mean, just knowing generally that people are generally doing their best. I do believe that people are generally good, and that there are, you know, if they mess up, it's usually just an accident. They just didn't know better, or they just have been told certain things that they thought were true, and they didn't hear the other side yet. I mean, but if I've explained to you the other side, I mean, we've had a good conversation, and you're just refusing to hear me, and you just want to hold on to your prejudices, then I am going to go after you.
Yes.
Or if you screw up so badly and are arrogant about it, then I have no problem being that activist who's like, oh no, we're going to talk about this in a very public way. And there have been times at GLAAD where it's like, oh no, this person really doesn't care, and they just they're owning their sort of arrogance. So let's go, you know. And GLAAD has taught me, like, let's go. Let's fight. Not let's fight, but let's have a very public conversation about why that was a really bad thing to say.
What was the outcome?
About LGBTQ people. Generally, I like to say 9 times out of 10, most people say, oh, I see it now. As long as you, of course, do it with love. You can get mad in the moment and be like, okay, we're going to fight. But really, you don't fight. You just talk, right? The main thing is talking. So generally, 99% of people are like, oh, I see it now. And sorry about that. Most people will understand when they made a mistake, because, you know, we also make mistakes. We are all human beings. So we have to be a little humble in that, you know, and realize, hey, you know, most people, just like me, are not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or say something, you know, and yeah, so generally I think, you know, people are cool.
Which I love that take, because many times we see in the activism world very radical views, you know, either if I'm telling you this drink is green and you don't see it, I'm like, we're never gonna come into an agreement, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like you could be like, well, there's a little gradient of pink in there, you know? And so I think it's a good form to post it as like, we could have a conversation, and maybe that's where we come into agreement, because many times we see the radicalities of the edges, and when you're a little bit open, then that's where we can come into like, well, wait a minute, you know, could we see it? Can I flip it to you so you could see it from this lens? And then have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. We have to be able to do that now. It's really, really hard. You know, but it is sort of the antidote to what's going on in our society right now, I think, because people are so entrenched in their ideas, and those ideas get they get more entrenched depending on what media you consume. So people are getting more and more hardened in their opinions, and that's hurting everybody, because we have this country where we just have two sides, and it's I have learned that definitely at GLAAD, to just meet people and talk to them and find out what they're thinking, and explain things too, because also language changes, terminology changes. The LGBTQ community changes. Every community changes. You know, and Latina communities change. Our language that we use, what we call ourselves, changes. Don't even get me started on that one, because everybody's always trying to ask me, what should I call the community? I'm like, well, I don't know. You know,
Depends
you
on the
could.
day.
Here are some options. And that's what GLAAD does too. Is like we don't make the rules, if you will. We just sort of ask everybody in the LGBTQ community, what language are you using? What are you using? How are you? And then we try to share that with media so that media feels at least has tools to be empowered and do the best job they can. Which again, most media people are absolutely, the vast majority, they want to do a good job. They care. They've got into media because they care. You know, they want to tell stories. I always say very few people got into media to be rich.
Right.
They did it because they care.
Point is to share the stories.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah, no, there's a lot there, but I'm going to switch topics kind of abruptly. 10 years ago, this year, it's the 10-year anniversary of Pulse. And for you, it's an important date. You wrote about it. How do you feel about a 10-year commemoration of that moment?
Commemoration, yeah, the 10-year mark since Pulse, the Pulse shooting in Orlando that killed so many people and left so many wounded, so many families forever wounded, so many. I just actually talked with some people in Orlando yesterday because we're going to be working with them and helping them. And, you know, it's so heartbreaking every time I go there. And back when I went, when there was still a building there, and you see the little rocks people have painted with the loved ones' names, or they brought something like a little remembrance, something they love, like Dia de los Muertos kind of thing. And it's just when you think about that, you know, they were in a club having fun, dancing, enjoying that place, the community, that feeling of like
felt home.
It was home. It was beautiful. It was Latin music. It was Latina people. It was beautiful. So that night, that day, and so many other shootings too, of course. All of the shootings, Uvalde, everybody. Every time you think of those, you think of everybody who's missing. Every child whose room. Oh, I just watched a documentary about that included Uvalde, about children's rooms.
Oh my gosh, I haven't been able to see it, but
I've never cried so much in my life. It's absolutely beautiful. Sorry.
And it's short, no?
It is a short. Yeah, I think it's only about half an hour.
Wow.
It was absolutely beautiful. So many other documentaries. Every documentary nominated for the Oscar was beautiful. But Pulse, yes. I mean, there are many stories too in the community of resilience and people, you know, there are missing people. So there are all these stories of what they could have done, what they would have gone on to do, the families they would have had, you know, the things they would have done for the world. That's all. There's a sense of so much loss.
Missing,
all those people. And there's a sense of a community, parents and families and friends who have gone on to keep doing beautiful things themselves in their honor and out of their own strength of survival. So there is a beautiful element too of survival among those who lived it, whether they were in that club that night or not, with anybody in that community, who had friends, who had teachers, who had students. There are probably lots of people who these kids were once their students.
Yeah.
You know, but certainly parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and tios and tias who are grieving the loss of the people who were in that club. So there's a beautiful resilience in all those people and how they keep alive the memories of the ones they lost and keep moving on with life and creating beautiful things. And I know that's the story too, that a lot of people who are in Orlando, they tell me they don't want to just be looked at as people who lost. They're also people who survived and who are making beautiful things. So there are beautiful stories of survival there.
Totally.
As well.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah, they're powerful.
Yes, for sure. Did that moment shape your career?
Yes, sure, in many ways, yeah. Because it shows you what's at stake too. It shows you that helping to change the culture so that it's less hateful can have a huge impact, and that media, it changed it for sure, because you can't go on knowing that they've all left this world and not be impacted by that.
Totally. Absolutely. Like, there's so much, and I think 10 years feels like a long time, but also may feel like really fast.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 10 years since it happened. Yeah.
You know, like, people graduate school and get like on lives, you know, in 10 years. And so like the thought of when you shared, it's not just about the loss, but also about the beginning that happened from that moment and the surviving of it.
Yeah.
Like, to think about those 10 years and what flourished.
Yeah.
It's deep.
It is deep, and I don't know how they do that. I don't know how someone who's still grieving their loved one keeps going like that. I have been very lucky in that I have not lost someone to a tragedy like that, but I don't know how they do that. I don't know how a mother keeps going. But they did, and they do, and they're amazing, and I wish it had never happened and that they didn't have to find that strength. But I'm amazed that they are able to and keep, mothering their other kids or their other nieces or nephews or people in their lives and keep going forward. Anybody who survives a tragedy like that, I don't know how they do it.
Mm-hmm. Which, speaking of mothering, you are co-parenting She,
yeah.
13, you said?
13, yeah.
13-year-old.
Yeah.
And so, as you see your 13-year-old and like those 13 years of life, within that comes what happened at Falls. There's been a lot of shaping things that happen in the world, and I would say that you've helped shape the world that she's now living in.
Oh, thank you.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, that was beautiful. That's a beautiful thought. And I am proud of her in so many ways for who she is. And she is a little activist herself. She has no problem telling people, sharing her thoughts about equality, about women, about people. And I love it. I am so proud of her. And if I've had any part, I think I've had a little part in that, in introducing her. Of course, right? It's also hers. I don't want to take it all as her. It's her impulse to be that kind of person and to stand up when she sees an injustice.
Yes.
I love my little warrior. She's definitely a warrior. She's tough.
I'm sure. And as you've been sharing how you give people grace and how you kind of tend to see, I feel like, the silver lining of things, how do you give her hope without performing hope in a world that now we could argue that it's burning?
What a good question that is. One of the things we definitely do, like the co-mommy and I, is have fun, have a lot of fun. We have to work really hard in life, want to work hard, like working hard, but also really like enjoying things like the beach, like good food, like karaoke, music, hanging out with abuela, with Tati and abuela, family, friendship, all that stuff is super important for us all, fun stuff. So I think we've modeled fun really well, I must say. I'm very proud of that. Because you gotta fight and you gotta study, you gotta work hard, you gotta do all those things, and you're here to also enjoy life. And that no one should ever take the fun away.
Yes.
No matter what else is going on in life.
Yes.
And I'm definitely very clear on that too. I will get up and fight and do all these things, and I will also have a very good time in my life because I'm only here once, probably. Who knows, maybe not, but feels like it's only once.
Yeah.
For now, it's only once, so I'm going to have a very good time while I'm here.
Which I think is a great message for anyone who exists in any form of underrepresented community, because many times we feel like we're in the fight and we're just in the fight.
Yes.
When in reality, I love that reminder of you're in the fight just as much as you're in life. Just as much as you deserve to have fun and have joy and smell the flowers and take a moment and bask in the sun.
Yes.
And then you get back in the fight.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And that whole thing, you can't take my queer joy. That's been a big theme for us in the last few years. You can't take my queer joy. You can't take away my Latina joy, my immigrant, all that stuff is mine and ours, and its community is beautiful.
Yes.
And sometimes in resistance to the hate, you find a beautiful community.
Yeah.
First, for me, being a lesbian woman at first, I felt very alone. And then when I found the community, there's such a joyfulness and Oh my gosh, there's a whole community out here.
Yes.
And that's why we are, we celebrate Pride, because a lot of times we came from years and years of hiding and not being proud, hiding, to suddenly being proud of who we are and then finding a beautiful community. So we celebrate that. But that's also true of immigrants, of Latina people, Black and brown people. Like finding that community within, is and sometimes that comes in the hardest moments. So that is the irony. Like in the ugliest moments, you find the most beautiful people.
Yes. Which I think we could say that we're seeing it now in so many ways, for sure. Going back to GLAAD, you've been doing this since 2008. I'm sure we've talked about this. Culture has shifted, sometimes forward, sometimes back, but still making progress. If you were to, as a GLAAD representative in a way, what could you say that over the years, GLAAD now knows about storytelling that the world doesn't yet?
What does GLAAD know about storytelling that the world doesn't yet? I mean, the world does kind of know this, but it needs to know it even more. That inclusive stories are often better stories. They're better, they're richer, they're more entertaining, they're more critically acclaimed. They get audiences, they find audiences. And sometimes people forget that.
Yes.
Like decision makers at media companies forget that.
Yes.
You have to remind them of the numbers. Like, look at these top films. Look who's the star of this. A Latina woman, Avatar. You know what I mean? You have to remind people sometimes. Look at how well this series is doing. Look at this top series on Netflix. Look at the top series you have to constantly remind people, because in a way, like, they've got this default thinking that only a certain ethnicity is the majority and they should lead, the ones who should lead. Exactly. So you have to constantly show them the numbers and the fact that, LGBTQ people overrepresent when it comes to buying movie tickets, when it comes to buying T-shirts.
They make money.
They make money. On Latina people, on LGBTQ people, we overrepresent as Latinos too, going to movies.
Yes.
And it's like, you have to remind them sometimes, we do that now, but we're not going to be forever. If somebody else comes along and includes us in a better way, then we're going to stop buying this and that and the other. You have to include us. It's good business, and it's good business.
Yes.
So sometimes we do have to remind people of that and show them the numbers. Like, look, you remember this? These are the numbers. Like, look at this. Look who's the lead character in that. Look at that. So yeah, yes, that's part of what we have to do, is just remind media all the time.
For sure. I mean, you come with receipts, right?
Yes, exactly. Come with receipts.
What's next for you? Just had GLAAD Awards.
We just had the GLAAD Media Awards, and we had Latin Honors, which was a lot of fun. We have a fun thing on GLAAD.org.
I'm so sad I missed it.
I know, next year, for sure. You'll have to come.
Count me in.
And we have a fun little video reel about Latin Honors. You can see it on GLAAD.org.
Yay.
And there's all kinds of resources, too, on GLAAD.org in Spanish, too, for people who want to, maybe for families. Kids are coming out. Somebody's coming out. They want to know how to talk to their kids or grandkids or whatever. It's there, and in español. Está en español, está en inglés. So more of that, more sharing of resources, of course, more, helping communities feel empowered, and making sure that we participate in every part of society. Civic engagement, every single part is very important.
Yes.
So making sure that, of course, LGBTQ Latinas are part of big Latina families oftentimes, or small Latina families, but making sure that everybody feels still like they're an important part of this country. And that includes LGBTQ Latinas, but also their whole family, and their families of choice too, their friends and families, making sure everybody knows that we're here. The LGBTQ community is part of the Latina community. Yeah.
Like, everyone has, I remember my gay uncle that my grandma still doesn't talk about. And I'm like, he wasn't his roommate.
You're the one who always says that.
Yes.
By the way, let me remind you again.
Yeah, like, you don't have a roommate for 20 years,
Right. And so, there are a lot of young queer kids who are, they're here, and some of them are struggling. They might be on DACA, they might be documented or undocumented, or they have somebody in their family who's undocumented, and they're struggling because they're LGBTQ, and they're also somebody's nephew and niece, and they're worried about their tío or their tía or their prima. So we have all these issues and worries that are interconnected. You know what I mean? So working on that too, making sure that we also remind ourselves that we are here, we are part of this country, and we have a say, we have a voice, and we have to participate in this country's political system. As much as people would rather we didn't, absolutely, this is the time to make sure everybody in your family's, you know, registered, that everybody's informed about elections and is out there and being part of
Being informed is powerful.
Yeah, this beautiful American democracy.
Yes.
We have the freedom to do these beautiful things. We've got to make sure we use that freedom and vote and, you know, participate.
Let's make it happen. Well, Monica, thank you so much for coming to Café con Pam.
My pleasure.
This was so fun.
Absolute pleasure. I don't know how much time we've been chatting, but it has flown by.
For an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. Bueno, esta fue mi conversación con Mónica, y lo que me encantó, what I really enjoyed, is when she said that in the ugliest moments, you find the most beautiful people. And I truly believe that, because I've lived it in many, many instances in my life. And maybe you have too. Mónica has spent 18 years making sure that queer Latina people are seen in media, besides, you know, the usual punchline. She makes sure that we're not the storyline that gets cut. She makes sure that our stories are told as the full, beautiful, complicated humans we are. And she does it without losing her joy, which is one of my favorite things about her. Porque, como dijo, you can't take her queer joy. You can't take her Latina joy. That belongs to her. Y eso también es tuyo. Whatever they're trying to make you small about, your voice, your identity, your visibility, it belongs to you. Entonces, si este episodio te movió en alguna manera, if it moved you in some way, please send it to someone who needs to hear that being seen is not too much to ask for. And if you're just finding out about Café con Pam, bueno, welcome home. The table has been set. There's a chair for you. And my invite is for you to take the Calladita Culture Quiz. Es bien fácil. Go to cafeconpam.com/quiz, and I will tell you exactly how the conditioning has shown up in your life and where your power actually lives. Porque eso es todo lo que yo hablo. Bueno, hasta la próxima. Nos vemos prontito y sigue brillando.
Sabrosura pa' ti que